What do you think about funeral directors? Well, you got to watch them, except the guy that buried Mom.
Yeah.
He was a saint. She was a wonderful human being. I think the funeral directors are unsung heroes. People throughout history, from Neanderthal burial down to the death today, people are going to care for their dead in a consistent manner with how they live their life. Funerals always are mirrors to society. A funeral will hold up in front of society the most noble, the most thoughtful, sensitive, caring, compassionate aspects of life. And you turn the mirror a little bit, and a funeral will also show you glaringly the selfish, cynical, unkind, insensitive, thoughtless side of life. What is it? She goes, funeral directors stop believing in what they're doing. And when that happens, it opens the door up for people like me.
And we are recording. Friends, here we are. I'll tell you, it's a Sunday. They say it's the day of rest. No one here believes that. I don't believe that for a minute. But what I'll like to say is Undertaking the Podcast is brought to you today by,
Who? Sorry. Is it quiet on the set?
It's not quiet on the set, but it can be. How are you, pal?
This is what happens when we don't have a director.
There is no director. You look good, buddy. That blue, the shades of blue, the tie.
Yeah.
All of it. Look at me. I'm slobbing it.
This is unplanned. I just showed up, and it's the day, 2 days before 4th of July?
July 2nd, bud.
Tomorrow's July 4th Eve.
Whatever that is.
This is the time of year where the cats, dogs, and unfortunately veterans, on a serious note, no joking aside, cringe a little bit. And then all of us who have kids cringe, and then everyone who has old kids laugh.
My wife hates the 4th. And she's a military family, all that.
Well,
it's the 4th of July. She does not like the loud noises. Let me make sure I'm recording.
Are we recording? You are producing this episode.
We are.
Well, it's always been said that those who have a 5th on the 4th may not come 4th on the 5th. So be careful, folks. Don't be stupid. That's a serious note. I don't know.
Oh, I've got news.
Okay.
So it's been a weekend, man. It's been a busy weekend for me in a lot of ways. Very, very steady. I've been on the phone back and forth with you, but I got a phone call last night, deep into the evening, very deep into the evening, from John T. Hill.
Oh, I talked to him on the way in. Okay, that's weird.
That is weird, yeah. So,
okay.
But yeah, he called me. He was going on a call. I was going on a call last evening, and a little good camaraderie.
I love that.
Need a little love, so it was nice to. It was good to talk to him. I hadn't talked to him in a while, so yeah. I've been slightly reclusive here recently, not really getting out. We'll see. I'm hoping to get out here in mid-July, late July, if our schedules permit. So.
Oh, that's right. We had Target acquired
possibly
Illinois. We were looking around at conventions, and there are not many conventions later in the summer. It's just not convention season, at least for us. And one popped up on our radar, and I made a phone call. I wanted to know, is this even worth it? And I made a call from someone in the network. Actually, I'll just go ahead and throw it out there. Let's name drop. Len Zielinski, our buddy on the north side of Chicago. So if I need help for a family on the north side of Chicago, I've got a buddy in the network. I call Len. He helps me out. So in this case, I wanted to know about Illinois' convention. Like, is this for me and Ryan? Is this something we could have a good time with. And he was like, oh, yeah, absolutely. And as a matter of fact, he used to be president. 10 years ago, he was the president of the association, I do believe, he said. So,
well, and he was an early supporter of the podcast, too.
Oh, very early. He was a sponsor.
Yeah, he sure was.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah. So, as a matter of fact, I believe he's still on the website because...
well, those ads don't ever go away.
Well, I don't know. I don't think I ever asked him if he wanted to renew, to be real honest. We're bad podcast business people. And today's episode can be brought to you by Indiana Donor Network, whose Yeti I'm drinking out of without a top. And that's why my wife calls me Chaos.
Okay. I think the hair and the sandals, youth pastor Brian over here. That's chaos.
Oh, youth pastor Brian. Yeah, I have gone to church 2 weeks in a row.
How was that this morning?
Church? It's really kind of weird. Church is very weird for me right now because I call myself a recovering Catholic in a lovingly joking way. So obviously I was raised in a Catholic family, but I haven't gone to church in 15 years.
Like, consistently?
Consistently, never. Because there was
I was going to say, describe you haven't gone to church, because you go probably on Easter. You probably go on holidays.
Okay, so for a while, I was a C&E Catholic. So for the Catholics are all nodding their head. They're going, at least he went to Christmas and Easter, right? You know, so I would dress up and go to church with my family, and it was great. Now, Mom always went to a separate church by herself, and I always felt bad for her. So randomly over the years, I would pop in and go to church with Mom. Because I started out as a little kid going to Mom's church, and then I went to Catholic school, so that, you know, there was kind of a conversion and whatnot. And, I have something all over my face.
Get that off your nose
right now and distracting the hell out of me.
You got a cliffhanger, buddy. Get that out of your
Is there a pirate in my hair shirt?
There's a pirate in your hair. Get it out. I can't do it. I can't look at it. It's so hard to use.
I'm sorry,
consider you
serious. I've got to take care of business over
It was horrible. Oh, my gosh. You probably can't see it, but it was, telling you, impressive.
I was on a hell of a story there, too, about
Look at you wiping it with your tie.
It's a brand new
barbaric.
tie.
You're barbarian.
I am a barbarian. This tie was picked out by our good friend Ben Schmidt. We were trying to film something silly at Undertakers at convention. I do have it on film. It's terrible, but we were going to be silly and create some video content because people have been asking us for video content for like 6 years, and
we've never done it.
We've recorded a ton, but we've been weird about putting our face out.
I don't know why either. I don't know. Maybe. Well, I know.
Yes,
why.
I know why. Because we're Undertakers and we'd rather be in the back of the room. So we wanted to do this show, so we put the crotch picture out, and then everyone.
I love that you call it the crotch picture. You're so right.
My wife goes, "Really, you're going to lead with that?" And I went, "Yes."
She's not wrong though. Like I didn't even think about that initially. Like we didn't even put our faces on our initial. Totally our crotches. The crotch pic. It's in some of our good stuff.
So
now
we would do some stuff on social. So now what's weird is we'll show our face and we'll put some video out on YouTube. But now I'm off social media except for Twitter, kind of. But I'll go in and post podcast stuff and then get right back out just because it's too toxic. And so I feel like I freed up time, but I filled it like instantly with other stuff.
It's interesting. I don't see any of the notifications from the funeral home groups anymore. I don't know.
Well, you said you got thrown out of them all.
I think I have. I don't have. I think I'm still in Embalmers Who Care. I see that one, but.
Well, you tried to white knight the situation when people were picking on each other, and you're like, "What are you doing here?"
It's pretty annoying.
Okay.
We've talked about that though, but yeah, I don't get. It's just funny. I don't get any notifications on any of that anymore. So
if I'm drinking coffee at like 6 o'clock at night, I'm having a donut. And I don't know why this is up here because I had it on the table.
I had it up there for the video.
It sounds like there's a donut in there. Why would you have it up for the video?
I had 2 of those this morning. I started my day. So shout out to Jack's Donuts. They are not a sponsor, but we will be tagging them to this video.
Oh, okay.
But we use them. Well,
you ate this donut.
One of my children ate it. I had 2 of them this morning before I started my day. It was wonderful. The nuts on the long ones, I don't know what they're called. I always point to the ones I like. I don't ever know the name. Yeah, it's pretty good.
I can't do it.
Jack's Donuts.
As a dad, I can eat kid food, but I don't know if I can eat kid food.
I think that originally started in Newcastle, Indiana.
Are you serious?
I think Jack's Donuts originally started, I think, in Newcastle, Indiana. And I tell you what, they've done pretty well. They've traveled around, and it's good stuff since 1961. But I'm pretty sure.
You were telling me before we started the show, though, that you guys have like a tray of refreshments out for the family.
So we try to always have something out for the family when they come into the lounge area. There's something. Obviously, there's coffee and water. We have a refrigerator. You can put pop, whatever you want to bring in too. But we try to have some sort of a tray of something out. Used to it was cookies. Now it's gone to it's kind of gone into more snack materials that
you guys were a cookie funeral home for a long time, weren't you? You'd walk into the funeral home and you would smell grandma's cookies.
Oh gosh,
that was intentional.
It was great. And I loved it too. The people that didn't eat their cookies.
It was not healthy for you guys at all.
Man, they brought those into the lounge, the rest of them. Ooh, anymore, but we don't have that luxury anymore. That was torture
for the staff.
I didn't care. It was great. That was breakfast for me. So I had breakfast there every morning. There was cookies and coffee.
Pause, though, because there's
the chocolate chip. It was Gordon Food Services cookies, the dough, the big dough thing that they come in.
Are you tagging every local company?
Trying to. Friends, rate, review, subscribe, tell a friend.
Good job.
I want to, but no, man. No, you're right. We were a cookie firm, and then it got expensive. It started to become, I'll be honest with you, a lot of work on top of everything else. So now we have cookies. They are just packaged cookies that are, bought. So we don't make them anymore.
I wanted to pause you on that.
I mean, you got to think about how many.
That's thousands of cookies. And funeral homes across the country used to do this
all the time.
Because someone came up with the idea. Then it was probably marketed within their own firms or a collective of firms. I do believe this was an idea. I'm going out on a limb here, but I'm going to say it was a corporate idea. That came from one of the corporate clusters.
Vendors.
And then a vendor, and then they took it on the speaking circuit, and then somebody picked it up.
And you can never get a funeral home to smell like cookies. And that's the crazy thing about it. It's not going to happen. It's not like what we had was warm. It's like we thawed them out because we froze them. We'd cook a bunch of them, and then we'd freeze them. And then we would get them out and thaw them out. That's how we would keep them. I don't know if
Is that a trade secret you just told? Is that a fresh cookie?
Hey, I ate every one of them, and I'm fine, so we're good. So you can say whatever you want. It worked.
I mean, yeah. Is it a fresh cookie, though?
It doesn't make. That's why I'm saying it doesn't make the funeral home smell like cookies.
But that was the idea, though, behind the cookie was to make the funeral home smell like grandma's cookies. The scent triggers a memory. It makes you feel comfortable.
We like candles for that. Thank you, Yankee at Yankee.com.
Okay, that's three. That is three people that are not paying us. You have to stop.
I think it's hilarious. I love it.
It's kind of funny.
Look at this happening over here.
So we've got thunderstorms in the background. I randomly showed up. They are heading towards my house.
Boy, look how dark it is here.
We had some things to talk about, but nothing like really on our chest. We've got a lot to talk about on green burial, greenwashing, really breaking out of this gaslight generation. Because to make clear decisions in funeral service, you have to look at what is going on and just make decisions and own your decisions. And there are so many things within funeral service that are clustered and then marketed. We just highlighted one that was marketed to us 30 years ago.
Cookies.
Grandma's cookies. Buy our cookies. Somebody made money off the damn things.
I try to make sure our funeral homes smell like either like a vanilla scent or some sort of an apple crisp.
So somebody got money.
Try to match the seasons, guys. Come on,
That's a good idea. If you're doing the cookie thing, match the seasons.
I love it. I do it. We do it all the time. Fall will smell like fall in our funeral home.
Don't half-ass the cookie thing. You're doing that with Yankee Candle, though. Now you're getting me to do it. I hate you already.
I love it.
But what I wanted to mention, though, is you'll see funeral marketeers.
Yeah.
They will bundle services, market it as something, and then tell the world this is what it is. And then the rest of us go, no, that's just your package. Okay.
Well, the reality is brought into it.
Well, right, and it makes it almost laughable to us that work in undertaking, and we see this and we go, well, no wonder your services aren't being selected in any great number, and that is because they're exclusionary. And Ryan and I have only become able to speak like this because we've been in the trenches, working it, and then talking to everyone for now starting our 6th year. And we're going to be throwing some terms around that we're going to use to create further dialogue. Like,
say it.
What? Greenwashing, breaking out of the gaslight generation. That's something our culture is doing. And we're going to know how that is happening in our world of undertaking.
I think the generation of hate, we've got to get past that. That's one thing I'm sold on, and I will be talking about very soon. And putting a presentation together, how would you like a presentation like this, Brian? Wouldn't this be interesting? A presentation called, would you say that on your website?
Oh, yeah. Oh, would you say that on your website? That's good.
Or hey, I got your screenshots. How about that?
Oh, hashtag I got your screenshots.
Just saying. I think
this is why you're not in any groups anymore.
Exactly. I think honestly, hate is something we eat our own in a lot of ways, and we got to get away from that. That's something we're going to talk a lot more about, and we're going to advocate I would say much more aggressively against publicly, and be more open about that. I will be, at least, and Brian and I have the mindset has changed a lot, especially when it comes to the idea of what we're doing, and I think that it's okay for us to do that. We should be advocating for success for everyone within what we do.
We have been advocates for 5 years in weird ways. Like, we started with this very small bubble, and as we grew, we probably hurt a lot of people along the way.
Hurt?
Yeah. And I'm going to fall on this sword, which I've already fallen on it once.
Well, everybody calls and talks to you. They don't talk to me.
This happened as a part of the show. Many cemeterians and counselors probably hate us. Let's be real. Let's get really real. I don't know how to say this without being rude, crude, and socially unacceptable. But I cut him off at the knees in an early episode. But looking back, Monday morning quarterbacking it 5 years later, I can say I spoke from my experience, and that experience was this little tiny bubble, and it was operating with cemetery counselors that were hurting families, and they were calling me crying. Okay? Well, once I kind of expanded my bubble and got to know why this was happening and why these interactions were happening the way they were. Anyway, that's a long story. But I made friends with the cemetery counselors, and now we're all looking out for each other, which in turn looks out for the families. And these situations just don't happen anymore because the people that start in young, we start right away and I'm just someone who stops in and visits. I welcome them and say, hey, I'm glad you're here. You're going to be able to help me one day. So I'm Brian. Here's my cell number. And if I can help you, I've got to offer that to you first. And that's how it's starting to work.
I like that, though.
Okay. Anyway, I just wanted to know that
I like that. I like being called, and I like being brought into decisions, and honestly, not necessarily decisions, but I guess it makes me feel good and it makes me feel like these conversations that we have mean something when we get pulled aside at convention time after time after time, asking questions about this. What do you think about this? What should I do here? What are your thoughts as to what are you doing the next 5 years? So that all is intriguing to me, and that's all been created because of this. So
I got several. I've had several emails from counselors over the years, and
See, I don't know that beef that you've got.
And it's not a beef. It's not a beef. I get a true email from these folks going, "Hey, I don't like what you said, and here's why." And I'm like, I'm so glad you said that. And I've had some recently, and I've responded to some emails. I'm sorry, those that I've got left hanging, I will get back to you. But I've responded to them, and I'm like, hear me now, please, if you're willing. Because I've got a lot more to say, and it's way different because my bubble's way bigger. I know a hell of a lot more counselors now, and some of them that have walked a hell of a similar path than myself. So I've got no sword out for them anymore. And I'm just not having negative interactions with my families because I set them up for success. I don't let my families fail with someone else. I want to make sure someone else that's helping them is just as prepared as I am. I don't care if they're my competitor or not.
My thing is I take a little bit from everybody. I feel like I'm very good at what I do. I feel like I'm excited with what I do. I feel like I have struggled here recently, and that's just from outside contributors. That's not necessarily from the industry itself. But I think I'd still take.
Same.
I still take what people say and the criticism, because I get criticisms, Brian, you know that. I feel like I sit here, I'm a funeral director where I'm at. That's all I do. I'm not an owner. I'm a funeral director. I'm an employee. That's what I do. I'm good at what I do, but I still, I would go someplace else and I think fare very, very well. And I still take a lot of criticism, and still having a lot of experience with being with you and my father and a lot of people that, have been within the industry for a long time.
Can we bookmark
I
something?
still get it. I still get hit with it.
I want to make an observation because I live in a completely different world where I don't have a lot of supervision other than that of my community.
I do.
You do. You have a lot of funeral redirection.
I have a general manager. You got to remember that.
So I am completely unmanaged, as you can plainly see. But
I like it though.
It's kind of working out for me at the moment, which is weird. I'm kind of blossoming in this unmanaged life right now because I have the creativity and the freedom to be creative with the community and let them guide me on what we do. I don't make a decision. When the community asks me, why do you embalm a body? And I go, because you asked me to. Well, and then they go, okay, well, why would I ask? And I'm like, now we're talking.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, okay, because you asked me to hold mom until next Saturday. You know what's going to happen?
That's a legitimate. And
I don't mean to make it a big deal because, like, if you just don't do anything, here's what happens. And here's how we don't make it a big deal, because it's supposed to happen, right? It's exactly what's supposed to happen. Now, I can slow that down for you using the latest science and technology and literal personal human compassion and applying technologies like intentional embalming, which no one has any idea what the definition is. But there's a whole bunch of us embalmers that are trying it. And we'll tell you about it one day if we last long enough. We haven't defined it yet. There's a lot of stuff that we're doing with families. I can say this, Ryan, that I made a removal the other day without laying hands on anyone. I shook the nurse's hand from hospice.
I feel like I should slap you for saying removal.
Oh, and that, you know what? And that is a comfortable term that we would all use together.
I'm still comfortable using it, but
thank you for catching that, though, because as I would say that, it did I remove? Yes. Did I take? Absolutely not. Would I take anything? I took instructions and I took orders. Did I do anything? Yeah, I showed up. That's the first thing I did. I showed up and I sat down and I went, hey, I'm Brian and I'm an Undertaker. To most people, that means nothing. And then I said what I do. I said, well, that means I'm a funeral director, I'm an embalmer, I'm a celebrant. I wash cars, too.
You're the janitor?
I'm the janitor.
You're the cleaning lady?
Yeah, but right now I'm just Brian, and you guys have a lot of questions. And the main thing I've got to tell you is I don't have anywhere else to be, so let's talk and take as much time as you need. And that is a theme that I want everyone to take, is when your loved one dies, I need you to sit in that moment for as long as you need to and then call me.
You know how hard this job is, though? You know how hard this job is? Like,
and I'm sitting here going, how easy it is now.
To sit in these rooms with the people we sit with, to have these conversations that I had one today, I had two yesterday, I had, it's like...
Am I yin and you're yang right now?
I'm just, well...
It's weird. I
had this conversation with John Hill.
Another embalmer and Undertaker. He's on social media too.
And I just said, what is it right now? I said, are people tired? And I said, I know we had that episode, and he listened to that episode talking about the idea that I am tired. And I am. I'm not discouraged with funeral service. I'm just extremely tired right now. I'll say that. I told him, and he goes, well, what is that? And he goes, are you tired because of your situation, or are you tired because of time off? Are you tired? What is it that gets you? And I said, I really don't know. I said, I've had a lot go on emotionally and whatnot. And I said, there's just a lot going on, and it's hard to breathe. And I said, that's kind of the mentality I've had for a while.
Yes.
And he goes, you know what? He goes, our generation, I'm hearing it too. And he goes, our generation's asking for different things than the older generation when it comes to workload, work environment, work-life balance. But you all right?
My phone buzzed.
Oh.
I thought
work-life balance, all that. Oh, all that stuff. So, we had an interesting conversation as to work-life balance, time off, vacation time. We talked about pay raises. We talked about a lot of different things that are going to affect funeral service really soon, because we're only getting busier. And I think that owners are going to have to realize that as we come up in this and as we continue, our wants and needs are different. I want to be at swimming meets. I want to be at, things that my dad wasn't at. Certain things like that, weekends are tough, and for instance, Thursday nights are tough, because for me during the school year, Tuesday nights and Thursday nights are tough for me, because it's a late evening usually with swimming and coding and things like that. So I want to be there for those things, and that kind of gets tough within what we're doing. I think it gets tougher when you don't have the support system. I, at one time, had a really good support system when it came to that. That is different. That's why I'm kind of maybe a little bit, I wouldn't say sour, but tired right now. Because, I'm having to pick up the pieces elsewhere, not only within the business, but also at home, too, in a lot of ways. So, and I'm not saying that negatively and not trying to throw anybody under the bus.
I'm hearing you as an observer.
I'm tired in a lot of different ways right now. I am. So that's where I'm at. I don't want to, I'm not discouraging anybody. I'm not mad at funeral service. That is not what I am saying. I will say this, the mentality within ownership, I think as management comes, is going to have to change a little bit when it comes to across the board, because my same things that I talk about, it's not any different elsewhere. It's kind of interesting. You know what I mean? I think our generation has different needs and wants. We don't necessarily want to live and die at that desk till 10 p.m. at night every night. I don't know that I want to do that. My dad did that for years. I don't know that I want to do that.
I don't know if he wanted to do it.
I think he had to do it because his dad died. So, it's just one of those things where I want to be there for my kids and to be able to get away and do that stuff, but still provide impact, be a good funeral director, be in, those opportunities within the business also, so I think it's just a weird time in life right now, Brian. I think just in general. So I don't really have any struggles. I lost one of my best friends. I lost my hero. I lost a guy that did 40 calls a year for us. I lost a guy that I enjoyed spending time with up at the lake every night, sitting by the fire. I lost the guy that, I have memories with all across, funeral service just in general. And there's pictures that pop up with him in the podcast and all that. So it's one of those things where life is very different and the journey has changed. And like I said to you, Brian, when it comes down to it, I think you've got to be okay with that. I have to be okay with other people's journeys. They have to be okay with mine too, whatever that journey is. So, which is an interesting comment and statement just in general. But
you want to take a minute to breathe?
Yeah, please.
Okay, good. I was sensing that you did, but I was waiting for that opportunity. Sit back. You gave me a lot to unpack there, and the way you told a lot of it I'm sorry, I'm touching my face, film people.
You close your eyes when you get deep. He starts getting deep, he closes his eyes and he starts touching his head and thinking.
Well, I was listening and not trying to process. I was just trying to listen and just let it be. So I took my shoe off, I crossed my legs, I don't know why. And then I just sat here and I just was trying to keep eye contact with you to let you go, but I was just trying to listen. And many of the things you said I wanted to comment on, but you were on a roll. And I get on my rolls. So, to keep me from getting on my rolls, I've been trying to just take a big breath in between.
Is that what you were doing when you were breathing?
Just trying to, honestly, when
I was like, what is going on?
Well, I took a deep breath because, when you started to describe the things you wanted to do, not be at your desk until 10, you wanted to be at the swim meets, you wanted to be with the children, I should be home right now. All of those things, I want to, and all of us, I think, want in our own way, and there's no getting around that. And I'm sorry, our generation has just said no thank you to the, well, you knew what you signed up for.
That no truer words have ever been spoken.
When you tell us that this is how it's done, and we've always done it this way, and this is how it's done here, which is my personal worst favorite, I like to say, no thank you. That's all. That's as much as I've got in me anymore. I go, you can do that. I don't have to. I will either just sit right here and get comfortable or go over there. It's that simple with anything. But the one thing that I want to comment on that was not simple, you described your dad, and you described it almost nonchalantly, but your dad did it because he had to. Because his dad died.
Dad was supposed to go to law school. When his dad died, that changed. He was getting ready to take the LSATs. He was going to law school. Could have changed the entire dynamic of our family. Like the trajectory.
So we have a similar story in my family. Mom was going to be a pharmacist. Mom was valedictorian of her class. Mom is smart. Smart. And Mom said, you know what I want to be? I want to be a mom. And Mom knocked it out of the park. It still does. And that's a new way to tell Mom's story.
Mom, she's not just a mom. She was part of the business too.
Exactly. Mom,
she was part of the business
because she chose the path of mom, which is not a just.
Because that's what my mom did.
And that's why I still want to get moms together and just set the recorder down and leave, or actually get one of them fired up and leave. But anyway, there's so many similarities there. And your grandpa died. So your dad was on a walk. He was on a journey. He was going to take the law school thing. LSATs. And he was on a journey. He was walk. He had his balance about him, right? Right leg, left foot, right foot, right? We know how to do that. Well, remember that podcast?
My uncle.
Who was that with? God, what is her name?
I don't know. My uncle was going to be a teacher.
He was going to be a teacher. Was he an Undertaker yet when Grandpa died? Was John an Undertaker?
There's a 5-year difference.
And
I would say yes.
Okay,
I would say yes.
We need to clear that family history up. But he may have been an undertaker, but he wanted to be a teacher because both of them were very well educated masters.
And I think that maybe he got sick. It was something.
There's something there that
they got pulled into.
His trajectory was off too.
Because remember, it was Ballard and Shirey, so they got pulled into.
Which here, blow your mind on this. Shirey is their niece was married to the owner of the funeral home that I currently am in. Mm-hmm. Weird, small America stuff. Anyway, back to the story at hand before we get too off of this. And I'm already off of this, but your dad was balanced. Your dad was balanced. He had a plan. He had a forward trajectory. He had a plan.
You said I explained to him nonchalantly.
You kind of explained it nonchalantly, and then his dad died. And suddenly he's this Undertaker, and now he's dead. But when your grandfather died, it was like cutting your father's right leg off. He didn't know how to walk anymore. It was like, yeah, keep walking at the same pace.
Him and his dad weren't as close, though.
Right. But the same thing happened to you. Yeah, Try walking. Try walking. Same thing is missing. Your balance is missing because your dad's gone. Same situation. Your dad lived through the same thing that you're going through right now. You're sitting in the chair going, what the hell is going on? Are you not?
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, the same thing is going on, but I didn't mean to tell you that. I didn't mean to. Your dad ended up being fine. That's a reassuring thought.
No, yeah, I've always...
you and your sister.
It'd been... Well,
and Mom.
True. It'd been nice to have been able to ask him some questions, though. I should have asked more of that. I just never thought I'd be here. You know,
even as an Undertaker,
we had 20 more years at least. I thought, my grandmother dies at 101. There's some genes there that are good. So I just didn't think that I would be here. So here we are.
And I don't know how I will be when I'm over there. We are literally yin and yang right now. It's kind of freaking me out because you're tired and I was tired and I'm no longer tired. It's weird. Everything's weird. But it's
been a long weekend.
One of the things I wanted to get back to, couple things. Let me highlight these couple things. The reason we're okay to share our opinions and share our voices, here's the thing, we're in the trenches. As soon as you skip this video, we're going back to work. And we're fine with that because when this podcast ends, and it won't, because the podcast isn't us. It's Cremation Then and Now with Jason, wherever the hell he is, and Barbara. And we haven't heard from him for a minute. We don't press our luck.
I've seen him on social. He's been doing some
we've been texting.
He's alive. He's alive.
On the road with Jason Duvall, brother Jason down in Kentucky.
Yes.
We've got Falcone bought equipment that we've not given back to him, and we're not.
Sitting right here in front of us.
We've made this sacred, so you're not getting the recorder, but we need to buy that tonight and send that to him. But we need to get some sponsors in.
Sponsorships.
Which apparently you've been hitting on Jack's Donuts all day.
I think it's a great...
What did you do? Okay, we wanted...
You know what? Families love it. Like, people...
Tell
like,
your
you
thing.
think that's redneck?
Tell your thing.
If you all think that's redneck to have this thing...
Funeral days, you guys have donuts for the family.
If you think this is redneck to literally, whatever it is, buy a box of donuts of Jack, say, hey, give me the variety box, blah, 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 have that in the lounge for the family... It's gone in most cases. I don't get to take it home very often. It's gone. So, I mean, say what you want, but it's genius because people love donuts, man. They love donuts. So,
all right, my phone's blowing up, and I'm 15 minutes late. Getting home, so we're gonna wrap a couple things. If you need to go,
I don't have to go. I thought you were.
We're about ready to wrap. I was gonna do it. Being that my phone is blowing up, I'm so thankful that it is not ASD because ASD is on the phones. They haven't been off the phones since we started.
Good.
My brother and I bounce the phones back and forth. We pay the bill. Has there been some frustration in the community? Probably. I got a call while I was at church today, and they wanted to know what florist it was. And I'm like, absolutely, I'm going to help you with this. When I walk in the door Monday morning at 9 o'clock.
Exactly.
And I don't.
There's certain things that don't require, it's not an immediate emergency, right?
Well,
exactly.
That is a brand new reality for me, and I've never done that before.
But it's okay.
Like my hair and the small child of weight that I have lost, I'm trying something new, and we're going to see what happens. But I'm going to have business hours for once, and I think it's going to be okay. Like, I feel that I've done this long enough that I am worth every penny that you pay me plus more, and I'm going to make sure it's more. Because I have to. Because the culture that we live in does not necessarily love the Undertaker. And that's okay. I don't need to change that. I just need to know it.
That's understandable, though. Why would they love us?
It's okay. Death sucks.
Yeah, it does. I know.
Here's the thing. On a small micro scale, you probably know an Undertaker and they're pretty cool. That's all we're saying. That's all under child.
Yeah, they're not as cool as us. Come on.
Okay, they're not as cool as Ballard, but
no, come on.
Okay,
we have a good time, man.
We have a good time.
No,
sober or not.
So
and that's the thing. I'm kind of living things on a different side of a coin these days, and I'm here to report that everything's fine, and it's okay to speak your mind as long as you kind of walk gently and not hurt others.
Here's kind of my thing. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong.
Bingo.
Because I don't know, but I'm going to have an opinion. So whether you're wrong or not, people can make themselves look like idiots. That's fine. I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong. I will have an opinion. It's okay. Well, I'm not going to argue anymore. I can't because I'm not on any Facebook groups anymore. So it is what it is. I'm a misfit toy. Hey, not on the carpet. Not on the carpet.
You have no more coffee.
You just spilt drops on a white.
We're outside.
That does not mean anything. Is that a white on blue carpet? Yes. Come on.
He tried to be
He's
redneck.
A barbarian.
He tried to be redneck a minute ago. I'm the redneck, you weirdo.
Barbarian. So, close it out.
I gotta go home. I'm late.
Friends, rate, review, subscribe, tell a friend. Undertakingthepodcast.com is that website. Info at undertakingthepodcast.com is the email.
I got the takeout. I know what it is. This will be great. So as you celebrate the 4th, it's not about making America greater than anybody else. It's fine the way it is, and we'll fix things as we go. But what we have is to offer you as Undertakers. We figured it out, and we can say it clearly. We're going to show up when you call, and we'll tell you what you need to know. Honestly, truthfully, matter-of-factly. And by doing that, you'll have enough information to make the decisions that you need. So by doing that, you can practice intentional death care. Fireworks. I can practice intentional death care. So half of the coin's up to me. I got to do my job. The other half's up to you. With that, we can create meaningful rituals. And that's what we do as Undertakers. We help create meaningful rituals by offering 2 things: opportunity and freedom. And we can do that with any of our tools, instruments, or none of them. It's just us showing up being us. And that's what this podcast is. And we're either under fire or the fireworks have started.
I think so. Fireworks, maybe. I don't know, but it's too light out.
We've been doing this long enough. I don't have to take cover.
One thing I will say, though, is I've used this a lot, something you said a while back. We as individuals make things sacred. We as humans make things sacred. Somebody asked me a while back, and this is just an example to end on, so I'm not going to go deep into it, but they were taking their loved one and doing something interesting with the cremated remains and jumping out of a plane, and this person asked, I don't know how I feel about that happening and them being spread that way and pieces of this individual being used that way, and I said, well, is that something he did? Yeah. And I was like, well, I said, quite honestly, there's a train.
Trains too.
You're gonna have to deal with that.
I have to deal with that
actually. But
I love it.
I told her, I said, think of it this way. I said, people spread cremated remains everywhere. It's all about making it sacred. You are making that moment sacred. That's what he enjoyed doing. You, your family, you guys are doing it that way. It's a sacred moment. I said, now I wouldn't do it over and over and over and over every year. I said,
I'm going to laugh.
I said, because there's only so much, and she laughed. But
she laughed.
But it was one of those things, you're making it sacred. So yes, it's okay. You should be okay with that. They're taking that and doing what they need to with it, and whether that's the kids, whether that's the family, it's being done. It's a sacred moment. What a neat moment when it comes down to it.
Well, and when that family walks in and hands you their, not them, the ICCFA chapstick.
There it is.
This really puckers my lips. When they hand you that they consider sacred, don't throw it out. That's what Undertakers can't do, because we have no idea what a family thinks is sacred. So to us, everything's got to be sacred. And that's what makes us weird. We got to end this show. Let's get out of here.
All right, friends. Rock and roll.
I got the recorder. I just marked it. Undertaking the podcast is brought to you in part by Pierce Chemical. As embalmers, we know that there's no room for failure in your care center. With a full line of chemical products for every situation and all the supplies you need for a well-stocked care center, Pierce has you covered. Pierce is proud to announce a partnership with Necromedics, a line of cosmetics designed specifically for funeral directors and embalmers. You owe it to your families to look into this new cosmetic line. Follow Pierce on Facebook and Instagram for follower-only promotional codes and discounts. Visit piercedirect.com, where you can design a favorites cart, which saves your past purchases and makes it very easy to reorder your favorite products 24 hours a day, every day of the year. Pierce, different by design.